I heard an interesting analogy the other day about an AK-47, which is also a destructive force. An AK-47 is an assault rifle, for those of you who aren't familiar with that terminology. But it works perfectly when it's underwater or when it's caked with mud. Its power is destructive in any environment, but it functions perfectly in any environment. And the courts are currently destructive, just like that automatic weapon, and they are functioning perfectly, exactly as they were designed to empty our bank accounts and fill the pockets of lawyers and judges.
What the fuck?
That's a great first soundbite for the call tonight. Welcome everybody. Nice to see so many of you on the call. We're going to give it a couple of minutes just to let people get logged in, and then we'll get underway pretty shortly.
Am I in the right place? Hi.
You are. Yeah, you're in the right place.
Yeah, you're used to seeing me on Instagram, Romel. But no,
What's up, brother?
we're doing the Zoom here right now. This will be a weekly thing, buddy.
Hi. How are you?
Good.
Are we the only two on?
No, there's 30 of us right now. I'm just going to mute you until we get started. We'll get started just shortly.
Okay, thanks.
All right, I think we're going to get started. Couple of quick introductions first. First of all, my name's Gavin. I'm the one that's waving right now. My name is FAC Administrator. My name's Gavin. Chris and Terry Lynn Fowler are also on the call. They will be they're waving right now. They'll be monitoring the questions at the Q&A period at the end of it. So we'd ask that if you do ask questions at the end, if you use the hand raise function on Zoom or wave phonetically so that we can see that you want to ask a question, and then we will, they'll come to you in order. The other guy I want to introduce is Kelsey Green, who's also wearing a green shirt and waving at you right now with the Highway to Hell behind him. Kelsey is the co-founder of Complex Trauma Canada. He's going to be managing questions in the chat. The call is being recorded. If you don't want to ask your question verbally, you can ask it in the chat, and then Kelsey will either respond in the chat or we'll ask the question verbally for the purposes of everybody else on the call. So you can either direct message Kelsey or just post questions in the chat. He'll do his best to manage those. But without further ado, I want to introduce Richie, because he's the reason why a lot of us are here tonight. So Richie, do you want to do kind of a quick intro for the people who don't know you and update for the people that do?
Perfect. I appreciate that, Gavin. So as Gavin mentioned, my name's Richie. I'm the founder of A Father's Truth. I've had this platform now for almost 5 years. I'm just a father like many of you guys and mothers. You know, I'm just a parent that goes through the system. And, you know, there's lots of awareness that's out there, but what I was not seeing a lot of was action. So that's what I decided to do. So I just want to take this time to thank everybody for joining the meeting tonight. I have gratitude for everyone for rising up, for the change that's needed in our family courts. Now, the worldwide issues that we have really need worldwide solutions and worldwide leaders working together to create the change that's needed. Now, I want to remind everybody of a quote by Margaret Mead, and it's, "Never doubt a small group of thoughtful, committed individuals can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has." So that's why we're all here tonight. Now, unity is really the key that is going to unlock the vault to this revolution that we're witnessing right now. Now, I started this with a vision and a mission to create change and do what's right for my kids. And this is pretty much the same mission that each and every one of you are joining tonight are on as well. Now I put it out there into the universe as well to call on parents and the warriors to rise from the ashes to protect our children from the evil behind the walls of the family court system. And again, I have much gratitude for you all for being here tonight. Now, again, Gavin had already introduced himself. There is, it's not just myself here. There was a team that was put together. This is not a one-person job. Many of you have seen my post on Instagram or TikTok, and that's kind of what sparked it. I put the date out there for April 24th of 24, which was the day that, we could have this worldwide rally all across the world, stand in unity and actually, create some messaging that's going to work for all of us. Again, this is something that I had envisioned actually 4 years ago before the pandemic. That kind of shut things down. And now we're brought here today, 4 years later, and we're going to take action on this. So I know Gavin did a little bit of introduction to himself, but again, he's a co-founder of False Allegations. Gavin reached out to me a few weeks back to offer his assistance in what he could do to help push forward this state and make it successful and bring it to all of you tonight. So he's done a tremendous amount of work. Gavin, man, I appreciate all your work. You've done a lot. When we first spoke, we put everything together within about, I want to say 48 hours. And, we launched the website. We had a lot of traffic problems. There was just too much traffic going to the site. Seems we've got that kind of worked out. So that's never a bad thing. So props to Gavin for all of that work. He also is a falsely accused parent. He knows the system very well. And, we kind of co-founded this Lies Ruin Lives together. So that's kind of what I have to say about tonight. Again, I have much gratitude for everybody that showed up tonight. The meeting is going to be saved for people that aren't joining. I've received some messages while we were waiting that some people are a little bit late. But I'm going to hand that over to you, Gavin. I appreciate it. And thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Richie. So I guess, a couple of housekeeping issues to get started. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I'm going to talk for maybe 15 minutes, and I'd ask that you stay muted for the kind of presentation component, and then we'll open up for question and answer at the end. As I mentioned, for those of you who've just jumped on the call, Chris and Terry Lynn will be managing the hand raise functions if you want to ask a question or make a suggestion. And Kelsey will be managing questions that come in through the chat. But I mean, first and foremost, I don't know where each and every one of you are from, but I want to welcome people from all over the world. It's great to see such a robust turnout, considering we're really just started organizing like less than 2 weeks ago. It's I think for some of you guys who are coming in from Europe, it's the middle of the night for you. So I appreciate you being here. But so far registered and many on tonight's call are from either Canada, the US, England, Northern Ireland, Holland, Belgium, Finland, Germany, Bulgaria, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. We've had 36 different states register, plus DC. We've got people from 9 different Canadian provinces. We've got 3 different Australian states, plus the Australian Capital Territory, North and South Island, New Zealand. Like we're all over the place. So the pain and the trauma that you're going through, we certainly feel it. And I want to thank Richie for putting this thing together. Again, my name is Gavin. I'm the co-founder of False Allegations Canada and a founding member of Complex Trauma Canada. And I've founded something called the Best Interest of the Child. Recently, Richie and I started up Lies Ruin Lives together, and that's the reason we're all here today. And props to Richie, because he just did it. He put it out into the universe that this rally was actually going to happen. He set an incredibly ambitious goal that it would happen everywhere in the world. He had no idea how it would all come together or how it would happen, but in some ways, that's where I come in. So Richie is kind of like the yin to my yang. He's like the megaphone, and I'm the behind the scenes guy. And again, if anyone's wondering why I'm doing this, I have a soon-to-be 9-year-old son who I haven't seen in 3 years, and I've been in and out of both family and criminal courts dealing with false allegations for the past 8 years since he was 1. You might be able to relate to this, but I don't like my ex. you might hate your ex for a number of reasons. Maybe they've taken your children, or maybe the courts have awarded them custody. Maybe they have an undiagnosed type B personality disorder. Maybe the courts won't investigate it because there's no profit in resolution. Maybe you're paying child support and you're broke. Maybe the courts are keeping you in poverty. Maybe your ex brought a motion and won, and now you owe money to pay their lawyers' fees instead of actually supporting your kids. But maybe the courts are just all about supporting their own. And I guess I'll start by saying that maybe your aggression is directed at your ex, but I would venture a guess that if they're represented by a lawyer, maybe your aggression should be directed at the law firms and the courts that sit in the background pouring fuel on the fire for profit. So tonight we're going to look at the family law legal system, talk about how it currently works, why it's such a complete mess, and what we can do about it. And I'm going to say things which some may consider controversial, some may consider offensive, but I'd ask that you stay with us until the end. One of our mandates is that we don't always agree, but we always listen. And sometimes we learn. I've certainly learned a lot when I've listened to someone else's point of view. So I want to start by saying that when we examine the registration data, the number of men and women who register is almost exactly correlated to the gender split in the population. Currently, we're at 49.09% men who have responded and 50.91% women who have responded. It is crazy. What this tells us on a preliminary level is that this is not a men versus women issue. It's not a him versus her issue. It's not a mother's rights issue or a father's rights issue. The only thing missing from the term family court is the word versus. It's family versus court. They're in it for money. It's not about us at this point. This is a children's rights issue. I want to share with you a quote that actually Kelsey shared with me. Someone wrote an open letter for him. It's an interesting question from someone looking at it from the outside. What would you do? How would you react if your house was burning down and the systems meant to assist you were throwing additional matches on the burning mess while blaming you? How would any caring, loving parent react? What are your choices? Should you give up, leaving no chance for a better outcome? Or should you fight harder at greater cost? In my opinion, it's critically important that we don't polarize this based on gender. For every mother who doesn't see their kids, there is a father who experiences the same emotions of loss and abandonment and search for purpose. And the truth is, on some level, it's too late for us. It's too late for the people who are on this call. In fact, it was probably too late 30 years ago, but it's not too late for our kids. So that's who we're fighting for. I'm going to share with you another quote, and maybe this should be a social media post, but one of the hardest things that you will ever experience as a parent is mourning the loss of a child who isn't gone. That's a profound statement that really kind of resonated with me. I guess the second thing I want to address is for the people who have registered so far. There's been some uncertainty about what leading a rally versus attending a rally is. I just want to give that a little bit of clarification. Leading a rally doesn't mean that you will need to be the media spokesperson or the first in line at the proverbial parade. Leading a rally in your area means being a local point of contact or a communication hub. For those of you who indicated that you were willing to lead a rally, and there have been 86 people so far who have indicated from all over the world that they're willing to lead rallies, so that's very inspirational. But for those of you who have indicated that you're going to lead a rally or that you're willing to, you will receive an email tomorrow asking for your permission to share your contact details with others in your area, and potentially suggesting that maybe for the purposes of the rally, you might consider setting up an alternate or unique Gmail address so that your personal email isn't inundated with communications about the rallies themselves. That's totally your call, but you will receive an email. Everything here is above board. Everything is recorded. Everything is strictly confidential in all of our meetings. So what's said here will never exist kind of outside these meetings. Some of you might be thinking, we want you to include us, but we doubt you'll need our help. The truth is, we do need your help in a couple of ways, and I'm going to talk about that now. I have some of the answers. I don't have all the answers, but here's what I know. The first thing we need to do is recognize patterns. And I think you guys can all likely relate to this, and you've all recognized some patterns already within the legal system. But once you recognize the patterns of the family courts, you become less fearful of them. We've collectively recognized that the pattern that we're currently undergoing with the courts is that it's a legal system and not a justice system, right? This is critical because the assumption that you will ultimately get to tell your story and then justice will be served is just plain wrong. And people outside the system don't understand that. The legal system, as I understand it, only serves legal professionals whose sole goal is to create conflict because conflict increases billable hours and billable hours equals profit. Their job is to make money for their law firms and for their shareholders. And they need to do that by getting your attention, and that means making false claims and prolonging the legal battle. It's almost like media clickbait. The media aren't really interested in delivering the truth. They're selling advertising. That's what they're doing. They're generating money. And the vehicle for ad sales is these salacious clickbait headlines. So then we start to recognize the patterns in the media. And I'm sure this is not a surprise to anybody, but the legacy media is dying, and they're now relying on government subsidies to stay alive, which means that the media now both complies with and becomes somewhat of a talking head for government narratives, which are usually slanted pretty hard in one direction or another, depending on which channel you watch. I think with this rally, we have a real opportunity to give the media something that they will want to report on. I've been really very fortunate to connect with people in family law, in political policy, in academia, in the legacy media, and also in social media, all of whom are far smarter and more capable than I am. But I want to say that even as I look upon you guys on this call, there's an incredible amount of power and passion and energy and expertise on this call right now. At the end of this call, we're going to post a link in the chat to a survey which we've been working on with some PhD research scientists who care deeply about the disaster that is our family court system because they've been through it personally. These people have personal vested interests in it, and they're willing to publish a paper based on the information that we're able to provide for them. I'd ask you to fill this out honestly, because data like this has never been collected before. And we, like you and me and the rest of the people on the call, have the power to drive change that's backed by statistics for the first time. Now, when you complete the survey, you'll be taken to kind of a step 3 where you'll find a link to 3 questions where you'll be able to identify your areas of strength and how you feel you might be able to contribute to your local rally. You might have political contacts or political campaign experience, or you might have media contacts or celebrity contacts. Perhaps you have expertise in social media or fundraising or database management or video production or photography or writing, or you're good at content generation or research or law. But the more we know about each of our individual strengths, the more we can assemble local and national teams who are skilled at working towards the common goal. If we're able to work together collectively, we can certainly make a much more profound impact. So once we have identified these kind of patterns in both the courts and the media, the second step is to use these patterns to our advantage. If you're already in the system, you can use these patterns on some level to achieve success. We've got to collectively find a way to use the system which we currently find ourselves in instead of being used by it. Because a lot of people think that the truth will set you free, but you're not up against the truth. You're up against a lie. And if you want to play the game, it almost means you must lie in order to play that game. And I don't mean for that to be an offensive statement, but I think you all know on some level it's true. You can't defend a lie with the truth. It just doesn't work in this system. Part 3 is creating a new pattern or creating a new narrative. And that's what I think we have the opportunity to do here as a collective of men and women, of mothers and fathers. Pattern creation is what we really need to do now. And that means changing the narrative from a father's rights or a mother's rights issue to a children's rights issue exclusively. Although a lot of us want to dismantle the system, or maybe said differently, burn the system down, that's not going to work. We need to build on the existing system, and we need to build on the patterns to create a better future for our kids. We must believe that this will be changed, not that it can be changed, but that it will be changed. Having that level of certainty is important, because when you have that level of expectation, you will accept nothing less than success. So the question is, how do we make it real for people who haven't been through it? Because I'm sure you'd agree, how people perceive the family court system is very different from how it is. Before you were ever involved in it, you had no idea. When you got involved in it, you probably didn't know what to do. Having an experience in the system is very different than having a perception. And I want to kind of paint a picture here for you for a second. Just by quick show of hands, how many people here have been to China? Just by either waving your hands or, okay, one person that I see so far. One person, cool. For those of you who haven't been there, what's your perception of life in China? Just think about that for a second. What's your perception of life in China? Would it be different if you'd been to China, if you'd tasted the food, if you'd met the people, if you'd experienced a dragon boat race? If you'd actually felt that culture, of course, it would be wildly different. And that's what people don't get about our court system, is you need to experience it to fully understand the trauma that it brings. And I know you've all been through this level of trauma, as have I. So how do we move forward? I think the first step is that we need to see it as it is, not worse than it is. Okay, we need to understand the way that the system operates. Not all judges are corrupt. Not all lawyers are conniving assholes. As much as it might be painful to hear, in order to build credibility, we need to focus on the judges who are making the right calls and the lawyers who are doing good work, and encourage them to continue to do the same before we start to verbally attack judges and lawyers who are making the wrong calls. Judges who make the wrong calls are the minority and are bad apples, and they need to be named as such. We can't attack the entire system. We need to attack the people who are doing wrong and applaud the people who are doing right in order to build credibility. Second thing is, we need to see a way to make it better than it is. So I'm going to give you an unpopular opinion. The legal system isn't broken. It's functioning exactly as it was designed to function. The design is just very poor, and the nuances are more focused on maintaining judicial reputation and maintaining relationships between lawyers and the courts, rather than focusing on the real stakeholders, who are our families and our children. I heard an interesting analogy the other day about an AK-47, which is also a destructive force. An AK-47 is an assault rifle, for those of you who aren't familiar with that terminology. But it works perfectly when it's underwater or when it's caked with mud. Its power is destructive in any environment, but it functions perfectly in any environment. And the courts are currently destructive, just like that automatic weapon, and they are functioning perfectly, exactly as they were designed to empty our bank accounts and fill the pockets of lawyers and judges. So step 3 is we need to make it the way we want it to be, or make it the way we see it should be better. And one of the key messages that we've received from retired judges and family court lawyers and criminal court lawyers is to try and convince new people who haven't been involved in the system to stay out of the system. And that might be going through mediation or arbitration. It might be settling things with your ex without going to court to maintain all of that financial capital, but to stay out of the courts. And this is going to be a critically important, key messaging piece for when we actually assemble at the rallies, is to stay out of the courts. I know it doesn't help you if you're already on the call, but it sends a strong message at the rally itself that the courts, the minority, the corrupt bad apple judges, and the lawyers who prioritize profits over principles are in fact the enemy that we're fighting against. Again, this isn't about mothers' rights or fathers' rights. This is about children's rights, and the courts are getting between us financially. So we need a strong message to stay out of the courts, to both the media and to the people who see us rally, if we really want to make change. I'm going to say something else that's a little controversial. Many people who identify as feminists don't realize that in the 30s and 40s, the covert fuel for feminism was actually started by men who were empowering women to get into the workforce so income tax revenue could be increased. It was like the ultimate gaslighting technique that feminism was actually created by men, and now women are fighting for it. My position is that feminism was never about equality, it was only about money. Men and women have been pitted against each other as adversaries for profit since that time. And I'll tell you honestly, I'm not a feminist, I am an equalist. I believe that men and women deserve to be treated equally and with dignity and integrity. And I believe that children who grow up with both parents actively involved in their lives succeed at much higher levels and avoid pitfalls like addiction, obesity, mental illness, teenage pregnancy, suicide, and many, many more. So the main goals that we've kind of assembled so far, and we'll certainly open the forum for other goals that need to be accomplished. In Canada, in 2014, we had something called Bill C-560, which was an equal shared parenting bill. And that was tabled in 2014. And a minority special interest group lobbied against the bill. And it was a very small group. It was supported, tripartisan support in Canada by Liberals, NDPs, and Democrats, and New Democrats. 78% of the Canadian population supported equal shared parenting, and this small special interest group, which was the Family Law Lawyers Association, managed to kill the bill to save their $10.5 billion a year industry. I've got a full video and stats on it. If you're interested, I'm happy to share that with you after the courts. I know the same thing is true in the States, and I know the same thing is true in Australia and New Zealand. I know that in the UK, much like in Canada, we're lobbying for a minister for for men, gender equality, families, and youth, because there is currently a minister for women, gender equality, families, and youth, but no one who are supporting fathers. And I think fathers are critical, in the lives of kids as mothers are. I don't think that anybody should be excluded. So that's one of the one of the main goals. We want to reintroduce Bill C-560 or something of its equivalent for shared parenting as a default in the absence of abuse, neglect, or addiction. Equal shared parenting legislation currently exists in many European countries and a handful of US states. And in all of those spaces, you see a decrease in hostility, a decrease in child support because you actually pay for your children when they're with you instead of paying your ex. They see a decrease in legal fees and also a marked decrease in false allegations. Some of the other things that we're working on are transparency in the courts. So the courts being publicly accessible, and links to all hearings. And one of the great powers of a group like this is if you have a court date that's coming up and it's accessible by Zoom, please let us know your Zoom link and we will attend court with you and back you up. We will attend court virtually. When I went to court on October 3rd, I had 104 people who showed up virtually to back me up, and the judges behaved wildly differently. So we will back you up if you're in court. We just need to know what your Zoom link is. We're looking for independent accountability boards for prosecutorial integrity. That's in the criminal system. We're looking for independent accountability boards for maintenance enforcement units, for Children's Aid Society, independent accountability boards, and also boards for judicial misconduct. We're looking for public oversight for family law practices. And one of the biggest weapons that a lot of people don't recognize that you already have in your arsenal is posting a Google review about the lawyer who is not prioritizing your children, who's not putting the best interest of your child in mind, and who's dragging this litigation on for profit. And collectively, we can post a number of negative reviews on lawyers who don't put our kids' best interest in mind. And that's one of the most powerful pieces of oversight that we can use to kind of work against family court law firms that are really just emptying our bank accounts. one of the other things that recently came to light that we're working on is transparency and judicial bonuses. Judges sometimes make as much or more than their annual salary, more than $300,000 a year. They will make, in addition, another $300,000 in terms of bonuses, but what they're bonused on is not transparent. We haven't been able to find out why they're bonused yet. And that's a big problem, because if they're prioritizing the speed of a trial over the justice that's being delivered in a trial, that's a big problem. So that's something that we're working on right now. In the UK, they have already criminalized coercive and controlling behavior. There's a motion to make that happen in Canada as well. I'm not sure about the States, but I'd certainly be happy to hear of anybody who's got any thoughts on that. We're also toying with the idea of integrating AI into judicial roles to make less biased decisions. And also, I guess one of the first things at the very top of the funnel when this first happens is loosening the communication restrictions and protection orders instead of escalating it into a confrontational position. A lot of people who are on this call had a situation where, you know, there may have been a domestic violence claim and immediately you are not allowed to communicate with your ex, immediately you're removed from your home. You can't talk to him for 365 days. You couldn't reconcile even if you wanted to. So loosening those restrictions might stop things at the very top of the funnel from getting into the legal system. I'm almost done, I promise. Yeah, I guess the real issue that we face is the perception from the public, those who haven't been through this and those who haven't experienced it personally. Again, like, it's not family court, it's family versus the courts. When you and your ex disagreed on something, you may have thought that it was you against them, but really it was you and them against the problem. This isn't men versus women. This is men and women versus the problem. And the problem is the courts. That's pretty much all I've got. We got a couple of things that I'd like to ask of you, each individual one of you guys. One, we just recently had the site translated into Chinese, and we're grateful for that because there's a massive Chinese speaking population. And we also have somebody who is almost like the Johnny Depp of China, who's going to start publicizing this in Taiwan and in China. He's got 25 million followers on Weibo, and is quite willing to spread this. So we've recently translated the site into Chinese, which is encouraging. We're looking for somebody who can translate into Spanish. So if anybody is able to translate into Spanish or speaks fluent Spanish, we're also looking to translate into French. If you've got another language that you are able to translate it into, we're certainly open to making it multilingual because we want to engage the entire planet on this. I've been working on this research study all afternoon with the help of these PhD research scientists, and we have every jurisdiction, every country in the world that's added to this study, so people from all over the world can contribute, and we're going to be able to collect data on what people are going through, which has never been seen by the courts and never been reported on by the media. So when we put this link in the chat, I'll send a follow-up with you by email, but if you can fill that out, we will get started working on it right away. What I hear a lot when I'm hosting calls like this, I host calls 7 days a week. At False Allegations Canada, we have calls 7 days a week. What I hear a lot is we should do this, we should do that. And when I hear we should, we end up shoulding all over ourselves. And that's me trying to inject a little bit of levity and humor into the end of my little blurb here. I want to change we should into I will, where we take personal accountability for doing something and making a change, because Richie is one of the craziest motherfuckers who does exactly what he says he's going to do. And when I ask him to do something, he's like, I will. And I want you to all embody that. If we all embody that philosophy, that psychology of I will do this instead of we should do this, we're going to move fucking mountains. Excuse my language. If that offends you, go fuck yourself. three commitments that I'm looking for. One, we've created a bunch of faceless Instagram and TikTok posts. I'm going to post 7 of them to you by email. You can download them and you can post them one each day for the next 7 days. Every meeting, I will have 7 new faceless Instagram and TikTok posts that you can post, and we can make this go viral. So that's my first. I'm going to post 7. I'm going to ask that you post at least 4 over the next week. Part 2, I want your commitment that tomorrow, when the leaders kind of give me the consent to share their email addresses, that when your leader reaches out to you, you will connect with them and you will set up a local GoFundMe or a local Give Send Go account for your local fundraising account. As much as I'd love to have your money, I can't manage everything, and we can't collectively as an organization manage everything. So we need to set up local fundraising accounts, and the more exposure we have on sites like Kickstarter, Give Send Go, GoFundMe. I'd be maybe a little bit cautious about GoFundMe after the trucker rally, but I want you to take action before next week so that we have a funding source for your local rallies. And number 3, my third ask of you is I want you to get 5 people to register for Lives Ruin Lives. I want to grow this by 500% by next week. We have more than 1,000 people who have registered so far. I want to hit 5,000 by next week. I want to hit 25,000 by the week after that. I want to hit 125,000 the week after that. And by the time we hit this rally, I want to be over 500,000 people. But that starts tonight. It starts with each one of you sharing this shit. The main thing that we need to do as we move through this is keep mindful of self-care. And this is critically important. You need to hydrate. If you're going to be an effective spokesperson, if you're going to be effective at the rallies, you need to eat well as you can. I know money's tight for a lot of people. You need to rest as much as you can. You need to keep your electrolytes up. You need to do breath work. I'm very fortunate. My girl and I do yoga every morning, and it's been fucking transformative for me. And if you're not, if you've never done yoga before, I was never into yoga, but I tried it and it fucking blew my mind. Yoga with Adrienne is who we follow. There's a 30-day challenge that she's doing right now, and you can do it each day for the next 30 days if you're up for it. I find it really helped, really very helpful. And get inspired by music. Listen to great music when you're doing this stuff. Sing, dance. Don't forget that we're all still alive here. We're all still in the fight, and we're gonna fuck some shit up. Like we're gonna make some noise. I'm really excited that there's so many people on the call. I think next week we are likely going to we have a max capacity of 300 people on our Zoom account. So my goal is to max it out for next week. I want people to be in the waiting room that can't get onto the call, and I need your help doing that. I can't do it myself. Richie can't do it himself. Although he's a monster. He went online and did an hour on TikTok live last night, and 40 people registered just from seeing him broadcast last night. That's amazing. It's amazing. That's it for me. Again, I'll close by saying I'm extraordinarily grateful for all of you for being on here. Thank you very much for being here. You're amazing. And with that, we'll open the floor to questions. Kelsey, do you have stuff that's already up there? Or if you want to ask a question verbally, you can raise your hand. Kelsey, you got questions in the chat?
The first question is, I registered. When do I hear back about the rally leader and the rally point?
Okay, good question. Rally leaders, we need to get permission to share contact information with you. So as soon as we have the permission to share their contact details with you, or they have a unique account set up, we will share the rally leaders. Right now, the number of people that we've amassed in each kind of jurisdiction, if you want to call it jurisdiction, we have like enough people for one rally per state in the US, or one rally per province in Canada. We need to get it to a point where we have 100 or 1,000 people per area, per city. So we need to kind of really drill it down. So it's a good question. We've set a goal that we will have the rally points designed or defined, I suppose, in 4 weeks, once we have a real sense of how many people are going to be involved. And again, that comes back to how we're able to share it either by email or by social media or by posters or whatever it is. So I guess that's the answer to that question. Did I fully answer that question, Kelsey?
Yep, 4 weeks.
Okay, cool.
And we're still looking for rally leaders to make more rallies in each jurisdiction. Yep. I see Chris has his hand up.
All right, hey guys, Gavin, this is great. I love the way you're talking here. This is wonderful, man. And your speech was really motivating at the beginning when you were talking about all the facts that you had about like shared parenting or some of these key words that you're talking about, like having both parents involved. I'm going to talk to child services lawyers tomorrow, and I got like an urgent case thing coming up. So like, I think we could all use the same story. So like those facts, can I get a copy of those facts, or is there like those details would probably work for all of us, right? Like where can I access that speech to put in my case, like on Monday?
I can send it to you.
We appreciate it.
I don't speak off the cuff like that. I had everything rehearsed a couple of times. So I appreciate you saying that.
Another question, Gavin, is the family court survey form. Can that be shared beyond this group?
100% it can. The more inputs we have, the better. The minimum quantum that we need, or the minimum number of respondents we need to make it a scientific survey, is 200. We won't have a problem with that, but by all means, feel free to share it beyond where we are right now. The more data we have, the better, and it's just going to make it that much more credible when we present it to the media. So I guess this is kind of an interesting segue. We've kind of mapped out over the next 8 weeks what we're planning to accomplish. 4 weeks from now, we'll have rally points defined because we'll have a critical mass of people who are going to attend. A couple of weeks after that, we've got media releases that will be prepared to send out to alert the media that we are going to be rallying, we are going to be protesting. At the same time, we need to apply for permits for those rallies, because I don't want anybody going to jail because they're rallying in a place that's illegal. So I don't know if you guys saw, there is a code of conduct on the website, and I can share that with you on a go-forward basis, but just to make sure that everyone has a safe rally and that no one ends up in the wrong place and no one ends up getting hurt, we do have an official code of conduct. I'm happy to share that with you as well. But yes, please share beyond our group for sure. Any other questions in the chat?
Hey, I got a question, Gavin. I'm all in for this. I think this is brilliant and great, but I'm worried. I've been under police surveillance for a few years, and like I've had a lot of run-ins with like all these kinds of things, and I pushed the limit a lot, and I would love to get involved in this, but I'm worried. Do you see any like problems, like from my situation a bit?
Yeah, I do. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, like part of the reason why we're sending this survey out, and at the end of the survey that we're you'll see 3 questions. It says like, what are your areas of expertise? And maybe you've got some experience. I'm not saying you, Chris, specifically, but maybe you've got some experience working with unions, or maybe you've got some experience dealing with children's aid or something like that. Once we start to identify the skill sets of everybody who's on this call and everybody who's involved in this movement, we can allocate resources in places where there's probably going to be, if let's just say for sake of argument, you had experience in unions, and you're able to engage 50 people from a union who understand what you're going through. Maybe that's way better than you actually showing up at a rally and putting yourself at personal risk So, like I said at the very beginning, like Richie and I get along really well because he's really good at stuff that I fucking hate, and I'm really good at stuff that he fucking hates. And like we can create this symbiosis. I don't know what each of you is capable of. Hey, Charles from Germany, nice to see you, man. But I think, you know, once you're able to fill out that survey, we'll be able to really allocate some like really powerful resources to each local jurisdiction, and maybe it starts with a national leader and then it goes to a provincial or state leader, or maybe it goes to, you know, it goes beyond that. But the infrastructure is what's important here. If you don't feel comfortable being physically present at the rally, then, you know, no problem. There's lots of other things you can do in the meantime.
JB, do you want to go ahead with your question?
Hey, Gavin,
JB,
could I make a few comments here? I just got to sign out here right away. I'm Tom from Edmonton, Alberta.
yeah, Tom, just 1 second. Hold off for 1 second. We're just going to go to JB first, and then we'll get to you. Okay. JB, are you there? You have to unmute.
All right, Tom, go ahead real quick while JB's unmuting.
Yeah. Hey, Gavin, good to see you. I like what you're doing here. I have to leave at 6 o'clock, unfortunately, for a client meeting. Just really quick, two things you mentioned I think are really wonderful. One is, you know, getting people to understand what family court's really like. I think that's super important to get the support of the public. Documentaries or telling your stories, I think, is really good. The other thing people can do is you can very quickly create stories using AI. So you can generate the basis of a story or something in 500 to 1,000 words in about, you know, 2 minutes to sort of tell a story and put it out there. The other thing is changing the system. Gavin, you know, I've been working very hard at that. And my observation is that the entrenched entities aren't going to do it. Your best bet from government side, and I ran for parliament as part of trying to fix this in Edmonton. Your best bet is to go to the rising parties, the people who want to get involved, and either support them or become them. So it's actually quite simple to run for council, for mayor, for parliament. It's way easier than most people think. So go after those things. Encourage friends or family to take jobs in the bureaucracy and kind of infiltrate the system from within. So if there's a job for a court clerk, for a judicial assistant, encourage friends or family who have some skills and are looking, get in there and, you know, become part of the system from within, because that's, I think, the best bet for any kind of rapid change. Oh, and of course, Mackenzie friends.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
One of the other things that just before we segue back into JB, one of the other things that I want to share with you, and something that I'm willing to contribute. When we first started False Allegations Canada, I don't know if you guys have logged onto it, but maybe Chris, if you can put the the link in the chat for falseallegationscanada.org. But we put together a compilation video of a bunch of people. I think it was 50 people altogether that all said one message, but it clipped from person to person to person to person to person. And what I think what I'll do in the next week is I'll put together a script that says something to the effect of, hi, my name's Gavin. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and I'm participating in the Worldwide Rally for Family Law Reform on April 24th, 2024. I hope you'll join me. And if everybody records that little blurb, then I'll cut it into, hi, I'm Gavin from Toronto. Hi, I'm Francis from Oshawa. Hi, I'm Bill from Texas. Hi, I'm Rob from Germany. Hi, I'm, you know what I mean? And just make it a rapid fire thing that everybody can share, because you're all going to be a part of it. And that we're all participating in this family law rally on April 24th. I'm happy to cut that and edit it and work on it and put it together and package it up so that's ready to go. Yeah, that's, I guess, the last thing that I wanted to say. JB, you're up next. If you're not there, then we'll go to Trevor.
Can you
JB?
unmute him, Gavin, as host? Can you unmute JB?
Sorry?
Can you unmute JB?
I asked him to unmute, but he's not responding. So
Kelsey,
You should be
we're
able to
not able,
unmute him.
yeah, we're not able to unmute him. We can ask him to unmute, but we can't unmute him.
JB, if you tap your screen one time and then at the same time, it should be a unmute button, so you should be able to click that.
okay, Trevor, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I'm Trevor from Barrie, Ontario. I've been falsely accused of assault. Charges have been dropped. I'm going through the family court system. I've had 18 CAS investigations opened up on me. I had the cops at my house last weekend based on false. I would love to be a leader, but unfortunately, I'm in the family court system right now, so I don't want that to affect my case. But I'm definitely willing to rally, and if you guys want, I can make flyers, send out flyers. I can try and get as many people on board as possible. You just tell me what to do, and you tell me jump, and I'll say how high. How about that?
It's amazing,
And
Trevor.
with that, I'm done.
Thank you very much for the offer, Trevor. We'll certainly take you up on that. One of the most important things that I think we've come to realize over the past couple of months is that people typically don't have a great deal of sympathy if you are between 18 and 60 years old. But people have a lot of sympathy for kids and for the elderly. So I know my parents, both of my parents, are coming to the rally. You know, I wish my kid could. I don't have access to my kid, but other like my nephews and my nieces are coming to the rally. They're in their their teens and their I guess preteens and teens. My cousins are coming to the rally. My sister's coming to the rally. So we all have these networks around us. And if you've gone through a false allegation, the people who support you through that false allegation don't often get much support. So, hey, Doncho from Bulgaria, nice to see you. We have a good global audience here. Yeah, the people around you, the people who are supportive of you when you're going through these kinds of things are critically important, and they need recognition. So if you can kind of engage with them, that's a great place to start as well, especially Trevor, if you don't want to put yourself at risk for your family court situation. I think Frank, you're up next.
Gavin, just quickly, I posted the link in the chat.
Okay, yeah, the link to our website will just give you an example of the video that we put together for False Allegations Canada, where we had 50 people contribute. I think it's on the homepage, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, sorry, Frank, go ahead.
Hey, Paul, great initiative. I like what I hear tonight. Anything that is moving into action, because we can educate ourselves a lot, but at some point, you know, where the rubber meets the road is when we take action. And so just what I'm asking you guys, if you could like draft your plan or a schedule together, I don't know, combined, so that we have something, you know, to guide ourselves by. And I understand, like you have like you may have enough leaders for every jurisdiction. I don't know. I'm in Ottawa. I don't know if you have one in Ottawa or not. Some of us, just so that if we are missing a leader, we don't go too long without a leader. So if we could address that, let us know in your plan what's missing, who's required here or there. And the other point I want to make, being from Ottawa, I know all about truckers' protests because it was like 20 minutes from my residence, and so it became like mostly chaotic for nearly a month. And so when you do a rally, such as the one that was made for the trucker that came to Ottawa, a lot of different other groups ended up joining the rally, not necessarily within the framework of what the initial rally was supposed to be about. So in the plan, it's I just want to sort of like cautious us to sort of like make it clear what it is we're rallying for and what we are not rallying for also. So there's no other groups that may sort of like throw us off the rails here. Now, from what I understand tonight, is that this call for action is for families' rights, children's rights, and both men and women, mothers and fathers, children. So this, of course, spills beyond just the courts, legal, and lawyers and judges. We already had like the 1 million march for parents, because like in schools, parents are not being included in the decision makings of policies in schools, and so the school boards, school themselves, in their curriculum, they put in policies we never would have consented for. Claiming to educate our children in without our consent into the type of mentality or wokeism, supporting, trying to educate our children to decide if they want to change sex or not and what pronouns they should use without our consent. And so that could be part of it.
Yeah, do you have a question, buddy?
So I just wondering if we could expand this push for this rally to include this rally in all domains of what concerns families, parents, children.
Okay, so I'm just going to jump in here for real quick. I heard you wanted to put together a schedule put together. I will definitely do that. I'll give you kind of our benchmarks for what we're trying to accomplish over the next 8 weeks before the rally actually happens. The second thing I'm going to do is we're still putting together key messaging, and key messaging, things we are going to be talking about, key messaging that we're not going to be talking about. And we've reached out to political consultants to figure out how to kind of get into the government, retired family law lawyers, judges, just what you were just saying there. Like, I think maybe Kids Against Courts might be an interesting little tagline or a little hashtag that could permeate social media, because it's about the kids against the courts, or the courts are against our kids. So I will definitely put together some key messaging for you. Thank you very much for the suggestion. It's a really good suggestion. Yeah. And we'll get some confirmed messaging, and I'll also send out for download printable format signage. So if you want to do something, like Richie's really good. He'll just like take paper and write stuff on it and hold it up, and that's critically important when we're out actually at the rally itself. I think it's important to have like billboard size stuff. So I'll put together multi-format, multi-size printable stuff that you can take to your local Staples and have printed off for the rally. And if you have suggestions for what you'd like to say, or if you have questions about what kind of appropriate messaging and not appropriate messaging is, we're certainly welcome to hear that feedback.
Yeah, that's like the schedule and certainly the initiative, but also like the plan per se, just so, because like a wish, an intention, without a plan is just a wish. So if we have like a draft, something that sort of like keep us, within, so we don't miss stuff, so we you touch the key bullet points, but but like step 1, step 2, phase 1, phase 3 for all, annex A, B, C, up to Z. I don't know.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah. Hey, Frank, hey, Frank, I'm gonna jump in and cut you off here for a second. Gavin said that he would reach out to you, and he also suggested that Richie would reach out to you. I'm gonna move on to the next question, okay? But we will definitely be in touch with you.
Okay, good
Sean,
enough.
you're up. Thank you. Sean, you're up, and then Josie, you'll be next. Sean, go ahead.
Sorry, sorry, I just muted, so my bad. Just a few quick things. If we stay on the topic about the children, right? And we need to avoid like using the term that the parental right is we in order to win the family court, we have to practice using the child has the right for both the parent. It's not like a father right. So as a father, I'm not able to see the children. And my question here is the CAS, everybody, they all know what they are doing. Anytime they come, they falsely accuse us, and we as a parent, we get united because ultimately they come to burn our house and they play on it. How can we try to keep it direct to the point?
I think CAS is one of the things we are very much looking forward to approaching, and it's an action item that we're working on. So thank you very much for raising that. I appreciate it, Sean. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Josie, go ahead.
All right, so I'm a grandma in this situation, so grandmas are also here. My question to you is, I have a pretty big following, but they're all in French. So I have a lot of people that are living the same situation as me in Quebec, and I know I heard you say that you wanted to be translated, but like if I add people, they won't understand it yet. So like, how fast do you think this is going to be translated in French? And like, how can we do Zoom meetings, or do I start the Zoom meetings and I become the leader and start doing the Zoom meetings?
So, yeah, really quick, just to touch base with you, I'm sorry to interject you guys, but Zoom has the ability to offer closed captioning. I'm literally using it right now. And if you're in a specific country, that individual should have the option right on the bottom screen to close caption in their language.
Say that again, you were cut off.
It's okay. No, she said Zoom has the option to do closed captioning, and people from other countries or other languages.
Because many people don't understand the
Are
conversation
you
now.
serious? I don't even know how to do that myself.
They speak another languages.
Okay, so we'll figure that out. Jose, first and foremost, you look fabulous for a grandmother. Yeah, that's amazing. If you want to translate it, if you get me a translation, like it's a 2-page website. It's not a great deal. It's a 2-page website and a responder email. That's what everyone has got so far. If you can translate that, I will do it in 48 hours.
I can do that. My husband's good at that. So if you send me the email, my husband will translate it. And is it kind of like leads? So they write their email and stuff like as if like marketing leads kind of thing?
Similar, but like on the homepage on the website, Lives Run Lives, we would have the option. We will, in very short order, have the option to select Chinese, French, English, or Spanish. And if there's any other languages that you want to translate to, I'm happy to build those pages as well. As long as I have the content, it's a very easy cut and paste for me to build those. And then they just select their language and they go directly to that. And then they get the autoresponder that comes out in that language as well. The tech piece is what I can do. So if you can translate it for me.
I will.
Yeah, and what I sent in the chat, you guys, a screenshot of the closed captioning button in the Zoom.
Sorry, Stephanie, we can't hear you at all. We can't hear you at all. And please, if you have something to jump in with, we'd love to hear from you. If you wouldn't mind putting your hand up, that'd be great. Jen, you've had your hand up for a little bit.
Jen, sorry, I just want to ask, Jen, are you JB? Were you?
Yeah, I was the one that was trying to get in earlier.
Perfect. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I invited somebody to this call who can shed a ton of light on how these cases originate, why they originate, who benefits, some of the common themes that we see, because a lot of people's paperwork. My skill is editing. And so I offer that as a free service to anybody who's willing to send me their paperwork. It's deliberate. This is a trust fraud issue. And I wanted to know if there would be an opportunity to give John Archdale the floor. He can bring receipts. He can show you exactly who and how much the state, these RICO actors, in America we call it RICO, racketeering, how much they're benefiting from creating these fraudulent cases. So it might not be appropriate at this meeting because I would have to give him a little bit of time to prepare, but he can bring receipts. It's a multi-million, billion, if you take into account all of our cases, it's a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. RICO, flat out, no due process. It's the most horrifying thing, exploiting ourselves, our children, reckless disregard for humanity. So I wanted to bring that one thing. So that's maybe next time. The second thing was I took the liberty of printing off the logo and I slapped it all over my van. I didn't know if everybody involved might have something similar. You know, you just laminate the thing, costs 10 cents to laminate if you have the pages, you know, you buy a big stack at Walmart. Slap it all over your van to draw attention to it because there are people in your community that you don't even realize have been impacted by this. And that'll be a way of uniting with folks in your area. I've had people come up to me and be like, oh my gosh, you stand for children's rights. And so it has given me the opportunity to dialogue about that. And I think we should each in the chat share our Facebook handles. We can all friend request each other and follow each other's pages as well. So that in those blackout periods when we're not directly in touch with Gavin or directly in touch with Chris and Terry Lynn, et cetera, you know, the leadership of the movement, that we would still feel connected to each other because it's going to take all of us. So those were my 3 points.
Very good. Yeah, that's awesome, Jen. Thanks so much for sharing that.
I just want to jump in here. iPhone has been waiting very patiently with her hand up. I think she wants to contribute.
Sorry, I can't see that on my screen. Go ahead.
I can't see it on the screen either.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hear you now, yeah.
TikTok, known as Falcon. Just want to kind of I'm not going to hit on any issues. All I want to know is about how to make us a successful rally. I think it's important, now to know that TikTok is banning a lot of us for infractions of slightly of going against family court. If you haven't noticed, so there's other ways to skin a cat, like I tell everybody. So if we keep any posts, I've had one of you guys' posts of our rallies taken down for a violation, which is complete BS. So there's other ways to skin a cat, and we all kind of keep on sharing this post about the rally and how it's going to happen. The second thing is with the Robbie Harvey, he was like the only one that drew attention to this matter of the corruption of family court all around the world. So I think if we all keep our hashtags the same and just bombard and flood these main people of media that bring highlights, such as Robbie Harvey, but he's being sued now by the Alan Kasanoff, that we are all in it together and with the same hashtags, just tagging some of these celebrities, these news medias, that will get more attention focused in, and people will say, like, what is going on with this rally all around? There has to be hundreds of these people, thousands of them, with the same problem issue. So correct me if I'm wrong. So those are, I think, kind of key points that we should focus on.
I totally agree. Thank you very much for sharing. It's understanding how to avoid censorship is critical to the success of this entire endeavor. And you know, I think to speak to what was mentioned earlier, I think by Jen, you know, I don't know if you guys have seen a documentary called Divorce Corp, where they really kind of take an analytical view at how much lawyers look at us as their pocketbooks. The opening scene is a lawyer who's driving down the street in his convertible on Sunday, and he sees a wedding, and he says, "I look at that wedding as inventory, because in a couple of years they're going to be divorced and they're going to start paying me." So if you haven't seen Divorce Corp, you can watch it for free on YouTube, but it's a bird's eye view of the legal system in the US and in Canada. But yeah, great suggestion. Thank you very much.
Sean, I'll get to you in 1 second. I just want to give Stephanie an opportunity. Did you have something that you wanted to say, Stephanie? We'll come back to you.
Thank you so much. I wasn't sure if my hand was still up. Can you guys hear me now? Isolation, voice isolation.
It's kind of crackling up a little bit, but you can go ahead.
I apologize. I'm in DC dealing with things. My question is, if there hasn't been assigned as to creating a contact list, a general like contact anyone, because everybody uses social media, or email, or they don't. And if you guys haven't found somebody yet, just because I see there's a lot of disconnect with there being so many different countries involved, etc. If you guys want to email you guys my list of whatever skills and contributions, but I want to offer myself as a way to like connect everything.
Did anyone else get all of that?
Yeah, Stephanie, are you able to put that in the chat? It was really crackling up. I wasn't able to understand much of what you said, maybe every 2 or 3 words.
Absolutely.
But if you're able to.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll move to Sean. Sean, go ahead.
Yeah. On that part about the censorship and everything else, we should not let our fear come before we start something. There will be something always there, no matter how much we try and how much we do. We have to move on. There will be some like bump in the road. We'll tackle it, but we just cannot be feared and worry about it, and it will let us stop from doing something. We'll deal with it when it comes to that point.
It's true. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
Okay. If you are on a computer and you want to save the chat, at the bottom of the chat, you have a text icon and an emoji icon and 3 little dots. You can click on the 3 little dots and save chat. That's enabled right now if you want to save the chat. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We're already a little over what we expected to be at in the beginning, but if anybody has any last minute questions, please raise your hand now. If not, I'm going to throw to Richie just for a closing comment. And sorry, Robin, did you have something you want to jump in?
I just wanted, yeah, thanks. I couldn't find the hand raising. I just wanted to say hello. Thank you for organizing this. I've been wanting to find a group that I can align with for a long time. What I have found in most of family court and anyone that's in it, they say you can't talk, you don't talk, you keep your mouth shut, and they silence you. So if there's one thing I've always known, the only way to get anything you want in life is to open up your mouth and to use it. And I plan to, and it is when I get my child back, not if or not. So I agree with everything that you've said. I would really like to be able to give my, I have a strong background in sales and marketing, and I also have a lot of content that I'd like to share, which is literally in the courtroom for my own hearings. In reunification therapy, every conversation I've had with any of these lawyers on either side, and all of the corruption. And I'm willing to be a poster board for with my case. I know a lot of people aren't, and because they're currently in their case, they're afraid to speak. I believe it's the opposite. At least for me, and that's only because I have nothing left to lose, because they've already made it 7 months without my child and just gave me a 3-year no contact domestic violence restraining order, and I'm not violent, and it was given on false orders about posting on social media because of the fact that I posted on social media that I'm going to tell the truth, and I was kind of begging them to, like, you know, to to do what's right now, so we don't have to go down this road and I don't have to share everything publicly. But I even just right before getting on this Zoom, I had a call with my daughter's gal, and she ended up hanging up on me when she knew I was recording. I just don't believe that we have a choice. You mentioned also the documentary, Divorce Corp. I did see it, and I agree with you where we can't really pick sides, and we have to be united, and it has to be, it's not a father's rights or mother's rights. It's our children's rights and their safety, and none of them have it, and it's horrible. And I mean, if anyone wants to make a documentary, I'm happy to make a documentary too. I have filmmaking in my background as well, production. So I'd love to connect with as many people as possible. I am Robin Ross on Instagram, or Save Beverly Hills on all social media. I'm not trying to save Beverly Hills anymore, just my own kid, but and everyone else's kids. Because there's millions of us, and it's a travesty. And I always believed that my daughter and I weren't enough, that I had to fight for everyone's children, because if I was just fighting for us, I wouldn't get anywhere, because it will just be the cherries on top. But you have to fight. We have to fight for each other, and I feel like so many aren't really fighting for each other. They're just
So I think there's
focusing on their
tremendous
own.
strength, Robin, in what you're saying. There's tremendous strength in it, and there was a movement. There was a he for she movement, and I think there is also a she for he movement.
Okay.
And if we can support the other gender, and we're not doing it to try and better ourselves, I think that becomes incredibly powerful. So I totally agree with you. Thanks very much for sharing that.
Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Trevor, and then Frank real quick, and then I have one more thing to say, so don't everyone jump off just yet, but Trevor, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to be real quick. Number one, there's a documentary called Erasing Families. I think you guys should watch. There's also an audio book called The Respondent by Greg Ellis you guys should listen to. He might actually be down for this. I heard that he does these kind of things. And last but not least, this is for Richie. I'm in the middle of doing this survey that you guys posted, and I got to page 3 and it says Asia, and it wants me to select my country. Canada's not in there, and I can't go any further into this. So I don't know if it's just I'm not tech savvy or.
Look at it.
All right.
Did you select Canada at the beginning?
I selected Canada at the beginning, and now I'm on page 3, and it says Asia, and it won't let me go any further into it. So I don't know if it's just because I'm illiterate when it comes down to technology, or if there is a glitch in how you guys built it. So
it's probably my fault, but thank you very much for raising that.
I'm kind of retarded when it comes down to technology, so it might be my fault.
All good. I'll look into it right now.
All right, cool.
And answering the earlier question about is there a leader in Ottawa? So we've got a ton of people. I had a guy message me this afternoon who said, I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Is there a leader in Harrisburg? And we've got someone who's leading in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. We've got someone who's leading in, I think, Gettysburg. Hang on a second, I'll just pull it up. We've got leaders in 4 different towns in Pennsylvania right now.
That's great.
Allentown, Bethlehem, Cannonsburg, Harrisburg, and Old Forge. But they're all just one person in each town. And what we need to get to is growing that so that there's 100 people in each town. So that's where we really need to kind of leverage our capacity to share on social media. In answer to your question earlier, Frank, there isn't currently a leader in Ottawa, but there are 6 people who want to attend the rally in Ottawa so far, and we're only 2 weeks in. So I see that as a very positive thing. If you want to lead, I'm happy to have
Gavin,
you.
do you have anyone in Los Angeles?
I have tons of people in Los Angeles.
Wonderful.
Hang on a second. Let me just tell you real quick. Yeah.
I stood with Anna for Peaky's Law to get the resolution passed back in 2017, when I still believed that they needed to be educated. And now I believe that those laws are just going to make things worse for us if we don't, start to hold them accountable for all their actions. Having any more laws that for them or education about how to abuse us is not, it's not the way to go.
100%. So in California, we have, looks like about 40 people
For leaders or for attendees.
For leaders, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Is my name on that list?
Robin
Ross.
Oh shit. You Yankees. Some of you put CA for California and some of you put California. Yes, you were on as a leader. You're leader and attendee.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll connect with you tomorrow by email. And
okay.
As soon as I get consent to share your information, then I'll share it out, and then you'll start getting some responses.
You have it, but you want it in email. The consent.
I want it.
You got it.
Yeah,
no problem.
Frank, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, go ahead, Frank.
Okay. Just so like I haven't been through this network as long as a lot of you guys. Personally, I'm not part of like Facebook and some of these platforms. Like a lot of people actually been leaving a lot of these platforms for several reasons and issues. So is there a way that we can have like a common email list where the fundamental documents, information, marching orders, whatever, are going out by email, so we don't have to chase all these platforms, and because I don't have time to be chasing all these platforms and subscribe to that. I'm much more efficient by email.
Yeah, it's no problem. We can certainly send you stuff, and if you want to lead the Ottawa rally, then I'll put you in contact with everybody in Ottawa.
Yeah,
and you can communicate locally that way. That's what we're trying to get to. So yeah.
Like basically, like I understand like the social media, to sort of like a broadcast like things, but the material per se, the documents, the content, if it's shared, with a wide distribution list of all of us people, then it's much more constrained and within our group.
Yeah, I'll send it out to you for sure, Frank. No problem.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Last thing, just before
one question.
Just before you go, just real quick, I'm gonna let you go in 1 second. I promise you, Robin. I just want to express some gratitude to Richie for really being the ignition for this entire thing. I asked him for permission for this first, but I want you to know that Richie's homeless. He's living in a tent right now. And it's minus 30 degrees in February in Canada. He's pushing through. He jumps on social. He connects with Wi-Fi, and he posts every day because he's so fucking committed to making this shit happen. But I just want to, if I know that a lot of us have, it's tight for a lot of us. I was able to send him $100 a couple of days ago just to make sure that he had, deodorant and toothpaste and all that kind of stuff. If you are able to contribute a little something, it doesn't have to be a huge amount. I just put a link in the chat for the rally. I just want to make sure that he's got a place to be warm and has like the basic essentials of life. So I'm not no expectations. There's no I'm not saying that everyone needs to, but if you have the capacity to send 10 or 20 bucks, I really appreciate it. Robin, go ahead.
Hold on, I'm just paying the thing.
Oh.
Hold on, I gotta get back to the screen before I wanted to click through. Hold on, it's almost done. There it goes. You heard it. All right. Hold on. I'm not sure if I missed this or not earlier, but did you say? I mean, we were a group of parents in Beverly Hills advocating for our children's rights with the whole pandemic bullshit, and I hope I didn't offend anybody. But we kept like a Google Doc of a list of everybody, like, and you know, what they supported, what they didn't support. In this case, it wouldn't be what you support, what you didn't support, but it might have like your social media platforms, your email address, a phone, whatever it is, that so that we have each area has a master list so that we can send out blasts or tag, you know, everybody. I don't know. It's just, I mean, I would for sure probably do it in my own area. I was just making a suggestion, and I didn't know if you wanted maybe it to be something synchronized or not, where it's all the same.
Yeah, as soon as we get the local leaders established, I will share all of the email addresses from those, even like statewide, province-wide. I'll share as long as I have consent to share. I don't mind. I don't want to betray anyone's trust. I don't want to share anyone's information if they don't want it shared. As soon as I have that consent from you to share with your local leader, I'm happy to share what we've got. But I need that consent in writing before.
No, but I was asking, did you want us as leaders to create those, like for our own region?
Fucking right. Absolutely.
And then provide and share it with you as part of the group so that you have a master thing to send emails to.
Sure, yeah, for sure. The more the merrier. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any other last minute questions before we wrap up for the night? We will be meeting again next Thursday, same time, same channel. Thank you very much for attending from Bulgaria and from Germany and from all the other amazing places in the world. My goal is to make this, again, 500% growth week over week.
Gavin, if I could say something for just a minute.
Sure.
I put my email address and my phone number in the chat. Anybody that wants to know anything as far as family courts are concerned, just give me a call. I've been in and out of family courts for about 40 years. So gives you an idea.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
a private investigator. So, and I have other things that I can share with everybody. I should have been on here to begin with, but I didn't know about you guys.
Well, we're glad you're here now. Thank you very much. Okay. Any other last minute comments or questions? Richie?
Yeah, if I could say something before we end. Appreciate everything that you've done, Gavin. Obviously, you know, you've put in a lot of work, like I was telling everybody throughout the lives. You know, I started on Instagram, getting this word out probably in about October. Again, you know, I've been through this for 5 years. I've seen advocacy groups all over the world. The biggest thing that I found was that there was so much divide. There's a lot of groups out there blaming each other. And again, we forget about really who's the issue here, and it's our kids. You know, they're being used as pawns and bait in this system. So like I said to you when we first met, you know, in that meeting that we first met, and you shared it again tonight, which was, you know, we have to face the facts. We have to take some kind of form of accountability that, you know, these things, it's too late for us, but it does not have to be too late for our kids. And, you know, the silence that we've all been dealing with for however long we've been in this court process, it's gotten us nowhere, you know. So the action and the unity is what is going to bring this movement forward. So, and, you know, I've been saying this for 5 years. I seem almost like a broken record. You know, most of you guys that follow me on TikTok, I just shared a post from Parental Alienation Awareness Day from 21. And, you know, I'm saying the exact same stuff as I was then. Unity, compassion, and understanding is what is going to set us apart from everything else that is out there. So again, buddy, I appreciate all your hard work. You did a lot to get the website going for everybody. I know you're working just as much as I am. And, Gavin mentioned that, I'm homeless. I've been homeless basically for 70 days, but it's not the first time. I've been in this process now for 5 years almost. And again, I was the one that I got to make sacrifices if we want to make changes in the system. I've have this warrior mentality. I also, believe in the universe, and I believe that everything happens for a reason. And I believe that everything is temporary. So, all of these feelings that we have, they're temporary feelings. And, we also have to realize that, our kids are also having these feelings. So again, like I said, when we actually, swallow that it's too late for us, but it's not too late for our kids, and this is why we're doing this, we're going to see a lot of change and progress happen. So I appreciate everything. I appreciate everybody for signing up, obviously, for the rallies, the leaders. Much gratitude to everybody, and I look forward to the next meeting.
I'll leave you with one final thought before we sign off. That I think is really important. I was doing my morning yoga session this morning, and got a notification on the computer that tomorrow's Groundhog Day. And I was reminded of that movie where every day he wakes up and it's exactly the same. And tomorrow is is Groundhog Day. And I think that needs to be the flint, that needs to be the match, that needs to be the ignition that makes all of us push forward and make sure that tomorrow isn't a repeat of every other day that we've had since we've gone through this process. Thank you all very much for being here tonight. Really appreciate you all. Look forward to seeing you next week. Please share it with all of your friends and family. We want to have 500% increase in attendance next week. We want to have not enough room in the Zoom room to be able to accommodate everyone. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great night.